Hello guys! Welcome back to World Toppers Wizardry. How's your prep going, guys? I really hope you're on the right track. And today I would like to show you a map of how the right track to IGCSE success looks like. In this series of videos, I would like to break down the IGCSE preparation, which is apparently a culmination of school life, into 5 simple stages, each equally important. If you follow all these 5 steps diligently, and I mean very diligently, I'm pretty sure that you will stand much more confident and prepared come the eve of your examinations. I've heard many students and friends say that IGCSE preparation is very vague and they don't have any concrete path to follow. So I'm hopeful that this video can serve as a guideline as to how should you structure the next few months of your IGCSE preparation. Alright, let's get going without much further ado. Chapter 1: Absorption and Retention. This subconscious stage is passed by almost everyone who appears for their board exams. You have an experience of this stage right from when you start your preschool years. And directly in correlation to your IGCSE exams, you start this stage when you start the IGCSE syllabus. So it could be grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, up until you have completed learning the IGCSE concepts. So for me personally, I began in grade 8 and I was done with the IGCSE syllabus 2 months in my grade 10. So that was approximately July of 2022. The key idea in this stage is to thoroughly understand every concept in depth. So you should know the derivation of a formula or a reason for an existence of a particular phenomena. You need to ask questions however vague they may seem to totally grasp a topic. For instance, I was really confused about electromagnetic induction in physics. So we are always taught that current flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. And from an IGCSE point of view, it's a fairly easy chapter with limited scope for difficult questions. So if you have an overview of how the electromagnetic induction principles work, if you know how the generators and the transformers work, then you're quite good to go. Because the mark scheme has fairly repetitive key phrases and by learning them, you have completed half of the task. I could have worked the easier way out and got my results. But the concept of AC current just did not make sense to me. As I told you, we were always taught that current flows from from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. So it just did not make sense to me that how can current oscillate between positive and negative directions. So multiple days analyzing, researching, quizzing, asking questions, and then I found out that the direction of current remains constant, but the polarity of the terminals changes. So that was how I found a logical explanation to my burning question. For another concrete example, doesn't it just so seem imaginary that how something so intangible like magnetic field lines can be cut by a real tangible object like a coil and electricity is magically produced? So I still dived in depth to answer that question until I found a logical explanation at its heart. So the explanation that you find or that you derive for yourself should not be axiomatic. You should just not accept the fact that okay, it's just there, you just need to know it and just move on. You should understand why it is there. So to reiterate, the IGCSE requires you to know what happens. It does not require you to know why it happens. But it is still very essential to get to that root of the topic. Because the you googlies, the little diversions in the topics that can be expected can only be answered if you logically comprehend and then analyze a question. So to correctly answer those googly questions, you need to understand every principle in depth without worrying about the constraints of the syllabus. You must chase knowledge, not a mark scheme's perspective. Because the mark scheme is just superficial, but you need to also at the same time get a thorough understanding of the topic to logically analyze those tricky questions and get the correct answer. For instance, you need to first state which direction the wire will move and then justify it with the key phrases. So if the former is incorrect, the latter is simply irrelevant. One way to test yourself at this stage is to teach the topic to someone. So the someone could be an imaginary person, a kid, a pet, or even as ridiculous as a wall. I would teach it to an imaginary person even I didn't know existed. So by teaching this topic, you should cover every little intricacy, every little nuance of the topic, and also answer any potential doubt that crosses your mind. So you need to think like a student, think what doubts can arise, and question every little principle, and then find the answers for those principles. And that is how you comprehend each and every principle in depth. Another great way of checking yourself in this stage is taking random short quizzes, not past papers. Maybe you could ask your teacher to take a short take up where the teacher focuses on questioning you about the little details of the chapter, not the big explanations for every principle. So, if you are thorough with every little detail of the chapter, then congratulations, you have equipped yourself with the knowledge to ace the IGCSE examinations. It is now time to mold your knowledge as per the expected IGCSE format. Let's move on to stage 2. Chapter 2, Rusty Recall. The vast amount of knowledge that you have acquired needs to be filtered before you produce it in the examination paper. The filtration obviously has to be in accordance with the mark scheme. So, it is here that you will solve past papers topically and try to analyze how to mold your answers into the expected IGCSE format. One website that I would recommend is physicsandmathstutor.com. This website specializes in topical past paper questions for science subjects. I'd like to caution you that this website has questions and answers that are a little old, but we'll correct this mistake in step 4, so you are safe as such. Alright, how to analyze the topical past papers? So firstly, definitions need to be relentlessly memorized. There is no escaping definitions. Then, for subjects with fixed answers like sciences, suggestion, explanation, and description questions have fairly repetitive key phrases that you can learn. Moreover, I'd also advise you to understand the format of diagrams. You should present your diagrams in a specific way so that you can score those high grades. As you start solving extended questions, you should start to observe a pattern in the kind of questions and their answers. So, for chapters like rates of reaction and equilibrium in reversible reactions in chemistry, the nature of questions and their answers is fairly repetitive. So, once you encounter a particular question and you see its answer in the mark scheme, the next time when you encounter a similar questions, you must use the key phrases specified in the mark scheme in your answer. So I've observed many students just randomly solve past papers as topical past papers as practice. They don't analyze the past papers and then try to find patterns. And that is why they miss out on key phrases and the marks. Correct? So you need to find those key phrases for particular questions and then use them in your answers. A pro tip, do not just merely state the keywords in your answer. It is usually recommended by me that you logically ink the keywords and then also add something extra from your own side. If you could conclude the answer, that would also be great. So this gives an examiner the impression that you have not just memorized the mark scheme but also understood the chapter. You need to solve topical past papers first when you're learning a topic and then also when you wish to revise a particular topic. Also, I'd like to caution you that it is highly possible that you know the answer but you are still spellbound. It's like you just don't know how to articulate that answer into words. Like it happened with me multiple times. I knew the phenomena, but I was not able to put that into words. So in that case, just refer to the mark scheme and the next time when a similar question crops up, you know which keywords you have to use to justify a particular phenomena. Alright, that is it for today. But more such content coming up in this series of videos, and especially stage 3 will be particularly interesting because that is a stage most students skip and that was very pivotal in securing me the grades that I got. So please stay tuned for further videos. If you found this video useful, please make sure to like, share and subscribe to World Toppers Wizardry. Until next time, thanks for watching.
चल उठ जा, let's crack it, जोर दे लगा